Welcome to Dental Business Made Simple. Now, here's your host, Coach Matt Doherty.
Welcome back to Dental Business Made Simple. I'm your host, Matt Doherty, and today we're talking about something that every dental practice owner thinks about, but most get completely wrong: marketing. Not the basics, not the post on Instagram more. We're going deep on what it actually takes to become the chosen practice in your community, how to attract the right patients, and why your story is your single greatest business asset. My guest today is Sean Hamel, the founder and CEO of Art of Dental Marketing, Dentistry's premier story-based marketing agency. Sean has helped hundreds of dental practice owners achieve remarkable growth, and he's the author of The Chosen Approach, a book that is changing how dentists think about marketing entirely. Sean, welcome to the show.
Awesome to be here. Couldn't be more excited. Always good to hang out with you, whether it's in person
How
or
was
virtual.
that intro? Did that serve you well?
Yeah, it was really good. The book hasn't come out yet, but that's my fault.
Okay.
That's my bad.
Before we get into the marketing, the person behind the marketing, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up with a marketing agency specifically for dental practices?
Yeah, that is a complex story. I definitely didn't think that this would ever be where I would be. I mean, I was a musician when I was younger. I traveled all over the country and played music, and found my way to marketing, as most musicians do. That I'm just kidding, but no, I actually fell in love with marketing on the road, playing music and getting to do things with our record label then at the time, and learning about that side of the business, and decided that all the travel and stuff wasn't for me. And so I came back to Kansas City and went to school and got a degree in marketing. I started working in a corporate environment, and wasn't really a cubicle guy. That just wasn't really my style, as creatives tend to struggle with that. And so actually got a job working for a dental financial services company running their marketing. And in doing that, started to meet a lot of dentists, and especially a lot of dentists here at UMKC, which is a really big dental school here in the Kansas City area. Started to meet some doctors, and with me having a degree in marketing and starting to build friendships, had a friend ask me some questions about starting and marketing his practice that he was going through. And he just came to me for advice on, which marketing company should I choose, because there are so many options, and I have all these proposals and I don't know who to listen to. And at that point, I didn't know what dental tax was. So I just saw the really high prices, but I couldn't really correlate that to any kind of value in terms of what I was seeing in the agreement. But long story short, I advised him, keep looking. I'll help you with like blogging and some SEO and stuff like that. And that turned into me basically doing marketing for the practice. And I always lead with that, because when I started, smartest guy in the room thing, I did everything that I learned in college and none of it worked. And that's one of the really unique things about dentistry, is that it's singular and it's very unique. And so I had to kind of relearn everything. So when I'm very blessed to get to not only do this, and I love doing it, but I get to travel and speak and teach kind of the concepts of what I've come up with, where we've had so much success using story and emotion. But it's all rooted in the fact that I tried this stuff. So I was kind of the run-of-the-mill dental marketer when I started, and thanks to a friend that gave me a lot of grace and patience, was able to figure some things out along the way that led to a lot of success for him, and then subsequent offices that I was able to get in touch with, laying this framework on them. And then through word of mouth, and a lot of blessings, we just grew and grew, and now we serve clients all over the country.
Yeah. Pretty cool story. A lot to go through. Some quick questions. What instrument did you play?
I played bass guitar. I started playing piano, then I switched to guitar. Then I wanted to hit things, so I played drums. And then it seems like every band on earth needs a bass player. And so I just started playing bass with some friends of mine. And we just, again, we're just in some advantageous spots. A lot of the music industry is just luck. Yeah. We just happened to be in the right place at the right time a few times, and we're able to do some really cool things. But yeah, bass player, guitar player, piano player, drummer. I kind of do it all at this point.
Can you sing?
It depends on who you ask.
Or how many drinks you have, or how many drinks that person had.
Yeah, that's situational, purely, coach. Situational.
All right. You and I have gotten to know each other, and I spent 7 years in Lawrence, Kansas, right up the road. Kansas City is a sneaky good city, and it's growing and maturing, and kind of finding a new life. But the most popular question is, what favorite barbecue joint?
Oh man, this is a tough one.
That's all.
I am definitely a Jack Stack guy, but I've also become a fan of it's called Q39. It's kind of a newer version. They won, all the championships, and that's the hard part too. Here is every restaurant you go to, they have literal trophies and a wall of trophies for all different kinds of things that they
Oh, yeah,
won.
they take it seriously.
Yeah, so Kansas City barbecue, it's one of those things I think that I've realized, like, depending on the kind of food that you want, which restaurant do you go to? So if
Yeah.
you want ribs, you go to this place. If you want brisket, you go to this place.
Yeah.
Jack Stack is kind of my go-to. It always has been. I have a lot of childhood memories and stuff there. Oklahoma Joe with them is Q39, which is more of like a fusion type place. But when you're in town, we're going to go to Q39 to get you some pork belly tacos that will change your life.
Pork belly tacos sounds.
I'm telling you, they will change your life.
When I was at KU, I used to love going into and get. I think it was Gates, and just get a rack and bring them back to Lawrence and watch football, watch the Chiefs on a Sunday, and fill your belly. Anyway, all right.
Yep. And Gates is where all the presidents go and all that stuff. It's kind of far from where I live in the city. Kansas City's a huge place. A lot of people don't realize that it spans 2 states.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'm going to stay on this track. KU or MU?
MU all the way. MU all the way. I'm a Missouri guy. Through and through.
Oh, snap.
We gotta stop now. We gotta turn the podcast off.
This just took a nasty turn. Wow. Right.
Yeah.
7 years in Lawrence, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Wow. Okay. I need a moment.
It's a friendly rivalry now. We never play each other really, so it's all good. Other than exhibitions, they don't even play each other.
Back then, Norm Stewart, the coach at Missouri, would not stay or eat in the state of Kansas. So what the border is probably 30 to 45 miles from Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas to Missouri. So he'd stay in Kansas City, Missouri, and then take the bus in for the game. Wouldn't have pregame meal or anything. Would not spend $1 in the state of Kansas. It was pretty cool, intense rivalry.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. So you mentioned dental tax. When did you start your dental marketing, and then explain dental tax?
Yeah, so I started helping friends. It was just kind of a side thing, just helping a friend out. That was in like 2014, 13 or 14. ADM itself became an actual like business around 2015, 2016. I'm not 100% sure exactly. It was somewhere in there because the Royals were good, so I remember that. So it was somewhere in there that it kind of
ADM means the art of dental marketing, right?
Right. Yeah, that the company, right? We started with a different name, but morphed into Art of Dental Marketing. So quite a while ago. That's when we got rocking and rolling. What was the second part of your question, Coach? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the second part was dental tax.
Oh, dental tax. Yeah. So, I mean, most dentists know this, and dental tax isn't anything I coined by any means, but it's just one of those things where when you are a dentist, things are a little bit more expensive than they would be if you owned a bakery.
Oh yeah.
And it seems to leach its way into all different kinds of things. So I always talk about, everybody really rushes to be expensive, but nobody really talks about being valuable anymore. And I think that's where the biggest issue with dental tax is. A lot of dentists have no problem, investing in things that are going to yield a return on investment for them. But if something's expensive just for the sake of making it expensive, because usually that's not a good formula for anybody.
No. When I was the head basketball coach at North Carolina, there was a coaching tax. Yeah, I get it. I thought it's exactly what you meant when you brought that up. So thanks for making sure that we're on the same page. What is the most common issue that you see in dental marketing or the dental profession?
Man, that's how long is our podcast? As it relates to marketing, it's kind of a multifaceted problem, and this is what I talk about when I speak a lot is kind of the industry itself needs a realignment. Dental marketing, the way that it's structured, the way that it's executed, the way that dentists have accepted what they're getting, it's largely broken. And there's a few different reasons why I think it's happening. And I feel like I've been in the industry and around enough practices that I can kind of speak to this.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people that get into this space to make money. And again, that's fine. Like you obviously need to keep the lights on, but it's that expensive, valuable thing I just talked about. They're not really bringing things where they need to be to effectively grow a locally proximal business that's medical specific that most people are afraid of. So it takes a little bit more than features and benefits to grow a practice. That's part of it. There's another part of this where there's a lot of people that are in dental marketing that are inexperienced. So, and again, I'm not demonizing dental marketers. I'm not saying anything's nefarious. I was the same person. I came in with my education thinking I would do well, and I fell on my face. But you have a lot of people that are inexperienced, and they're getting brought into this world by coaches and not like you, coach, but online influencers and things that are touting,
Right.
start a digital marketing agency, make $10,000 a month, work 3 hours a week, right? Go after dental practices, charge them 3 times normal rates. And they're buying these, prepackaged white label solutions where they can slap their name on it. They're getting scripts and they're getting these really basic templated things that they're going out and then launching. And the dentists just want to grow. The dentists just want to invest in their business, and they don't know how to vet the marketers properly. So you have a lot of inexperience coming in, with the expensive versus valuable thing. They're not taking the time to become valuable. That's why you see a lot of these really young looking kids that they all kind of say the same thing about All on X. Hey, I'll get you 30 All on X patients in 20 minutes. Buy my course. They're buying that from another influencer that's building agency owners to then fill their pipeline. So that's another part of it, is the inexperience. And then you just have a big swath of people that are just salespeople. They're not actually marketers. They're selling web services.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
When you got into the dental space in 2014, what was it when you said they're not like the other? What was it about dentistry that made it a different industry to market for than what you learned in college?
Yeah, so it's largely that it's not feature and benefits based. So I go into this a lot when I speak. There's a cycle that I call the cycle of mediocrity, but it's like a treadmill that dentists get locked in with marketers, and they kind of feed each other, and they just stay in this circle together where everything's really generic and templated, and that drives no differentiation. And so the only way the practices can differentiate and what they get encouraged to do is discount their dentistry. And when you do discount focused marketing, you drive in the patients that you don't really want, right? The discount shoppers, who then kind of clog up a pipeline of what is a relationship business, right? We need to see patients repeatedly to really monetize the relationship. And so because that's not happening, it's putting a lot of weight. These single patient, new patient visits put a lot of drag on the practice. And then, the doctors go and they go to an event, or they go to a study club, or they go somewhere, and all these marketers are paying to sponsor, but there's really no way to vet the work that's being done. And they're saying all the right things. And so the dentist hires the next marketer, and that marketer comes in and they promise the world. And then, hey, we got to grow. The phone's not ringing. Okay, well, let's run a special. And they just keep feeding off of each other.
Well, when you're discounting, you become a commodity, and it's a race to the bottom.
It is. And
so
it's not.
I'm going to interrupt.
Sure.
You used the phrase, don't just be seen, be chosen. That got to the heart of the problem. A lot of practice owners think marketing is about visibility, about traffic, Google traffic, social media impressions, but you're saying that's not the point. Help us understand the distinction.
Yeah, absolutely. That discount model, like you said, it doesn't really work. And so the doctors kind of get desperate and they start trying all the things, right? They're trying to do all these different things. And so as you move towards, trying to make a difference, trying to make an impact in the community, everybody loses sight that the average person is fearful and apprehensive about dentistry, right? They don't want to be there. Most people don't want to be in the operatory. They're afraid of it. And that was really the light bulb moment for me that went off, is that everything is really steeped in relationship and experience, right? They're buying trust and safety. It's why patient referrals work so well. Patient just comes in because they have that veil of fear and anxiety that's killed by whomever they're trusting that refers them to the practice. And they just come in. And so if you can replicate that emotional process, you can get better results. And that's where the chosen versus seen thing comes in. Most of the marketing stuff that's out there is solely focused on visibility, right? Getting in front of people. Even SEO, there's all this focus on SEO, but even if you do the best you can do with SEO, top 3 is the best you can do. 33% chance you're going to get picked.
OMJ Clothing is an elite men's clothing store that provides a vast array of spectacular brands of men's lifestyle apparel for every day. Elevate your business upscale casual at OMJ. Success comes from standing out.
What are you doing to compel the person to choose you outside of discounts? And that with a dental practice, right? A lot of the marketers in the space, just like me, they're talking about, we work on teeth, clinical aspects all the time, right? Showing the doctor with tools in people's mouths, wearing scrubs, all the stuff that people are afraid of. And yet we keep shoving it down their throats, trying to get them to understand things that the average consumer has already given the business. So when you say you're a dentist, people largely understand what you do. They understand. You don't have to keep telling them and trying to affirm to them that you are smart and capable. They've given you that. Just like when you buy a vehicle, the car salesman sits there and tells you all of our cars have tires and brakes and transmissions and turn signals. You'd be like, duh, I know that.
Right. You want to test drive it, so how does it make you feel?
Exactly.
Right?
And that's
feeling is
where
the piece. Tell us about storytelling, because it can sound abstract to a dentist. What's a concrete application?
Yeah. So with this and with this chosen approach, we're just replicating what people need to make a comfortable decision coming from that trust and safety. Again, we're replicating that emotional process. Human beings are very different, but we're very similar in terms of how we process fear and apprehension and how we kind of operate from self-preservation. And so group is good. Group mentality is good. There's safety in the groups. There's also safety and commonality. That's why, in the movies, when the aliens show up, we send up ships and we start shooting lights and stuff at them, because we're trying to find commonality, because commonality is safety. And so when somebody is afraid, like statistically most people are, you shoving down their throat the clinical aspects of everything you're going to do isn't necessarily going to work as well as you having something in common with them, or a connection point, right? Like if you're at a party, there's 300 people there and you're there by yourself and you don't know anybody, and you see somebody with a KU sweatshirt on, who are you going to talk to?
That's right.
Right? Those emotional cues are how you get your practice picked over your competitors who are just shoveling dentistry down people's throats and trying to get people with discounts. The story piece, who you are, why you do what you do, giving people the ability to connect with you, is what unlocks all of the rest of this growth. And what happens now is storytelling and story-based has kind of become a buzzword. And marketing companies are using it to sell really expensive photography and videography. That's not what this is. It's not about the dentist. It's about folding the dentistry into the patient's lifestyle and making the dentist kind of the guide to the patient's desired outcome. They already understand that you're smart, you're capable, you work on teeth, right? You're going to hopefully take care of them and take care of their problem. You don't have to keep trying to affirm to them that that's what you do. Just fold it into their lifestyle and make it easy for them to say yes and see a better outcome. They're going to look better, feel better, have more confidence, sleep better, whatever it may be. that's how you really start to unlock. And that messaging is largely devoid in any dental marketing that you see. It's either all about the dentist or it's super generic and clinical and stock photos. And, I always joke when I speak. I one time there was a doctor that called me in Wisconsin, and the video that was like playing in the background on his website was a couple walking on the beach. Like, what does that have to do with somebody that lives in Wisconsin, right?
Right.
So it's just, the things that marketers do that don't really make sense, they don't yield ROI, and it causes a lot of drag on the practice. And the dentists have to then work harder if they're discounting dentistry to catch up. And everybody seems to forget, coach, that there's a shelf life on a dentist's ability to comfortably perform this job.
Yes.
Their shoulders, their back,
Yes.
You can't just feed on them. You have to give them something. You have to give them a material return. Otherwise, just leave them be, because they only have so long they can do this job. They have to do something else.
You said, I heard you say, I believe, fold it into their lifestyle. Is that what I heard you say? What does that look like?
Yeah. So a great example is kind of what we're doing with some of our clients now. So a lot of times, if you look at dental marketing, it's kind of like whack-a-mole, right? The marketing company is trying to hit a specific person at a specific time that is in need of a specific thing. And that's very rare because, again, most people don't like dentistry and they don't want to think about it. So if you were like, let's say you're scrolling on Instagram and you see teeth whitening, $99, and there's a stock photo, you're just going to, unless you want your teeth whitened or it's bugging you, you're just going to scroll. But let's say that you're scrolling through and you're a parent in a local neighborhood that we target, and you see you bought her the dress, give her the smile, prom 2026 whitening special. It enters your brain different, right? We're assimilating it to something going on in your life.
Right. Something you care more about, your kids.
Exactly. And so that's where we get really deep in like neuroscience and human emotion and things with messaging, to fold it in to make it easy for a patient to be like, you know what, I do need that. Or yes, we did spend all this money. We're going to be looking at these photos forever. We should go do this. Whereas if you just say special discounted rate,
Right.
It doesn't resonate the same way with people, because every business on earth, no matter their vertical, is doing that.
Yeah, you go from the teeth whitening to, my daughter's prom is coming up. I want her to look really good.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, I'll be in some of those pictures too, so I want to look good too.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. How do you decide on the target audience? Like you just said, prom. How do you, like, if I'm a dentist in Mooresville, North Carolina, where I live now, and how do I decide my target audience? Who to go after? How do you help me with that? Or do I tell you who I'm going after and why?
Good question. A lot of dental marketing is very transactional. It's here, you're in the bronze package. Here's your contract. Here's the 800 number. Here's your monthly reporting. Don't bother us. Like, that's kind of how a lot of the relationships are structured. And so there's not a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of creativity. There's not strategy. It's just, it largely doesn't happen. The doctors and the office managers get stuck doing it themselves. So we like to work very proactively, not reactively, with our clients. And so they're a dentist. We want them chairside, producing, but we also want to watch their blind spots and give them tips and advice and guidance and strategic things to look for. And we've done this in a million different ways. But we spend time with our clients in the onboarding process and talking about their goals. That's one thing that most dentists nobody really ever talks to them about. How can I do what I do to get you where you want to go? And so we will ask them, what kind of clients do you want to see? Or what kind of patients, right? What kind of dentistry do you want to do? Do you want to be chairside less but make more money? Right. What does that look like? What's your ultimate goal? Do you want to buy more locations, right? Like, what does that look like? And we can, through that and hearing their vision for the practice. And then we do a lot of independent study on demographics. And as far as story-based marketing in dental, I do feel like we've been at kind of the tip of the spear at how to do this, because ADM is so unique in what we do. But it's just, dentistry is really cyclical. in terms of what drives motivations, why people might want different things. We do a lot with community and ground marketing. So, hey, there's a gym next door. We're working with a new client right now with a Pilates studio that's next door, co-marketing that with them. We've worked with like golf courses. We've done all kinds of things with our clients because that community connection piece, that's a big piece that's missing too. Marketers don't touch it.
Talk about that more. The working with a Pilates studio or a golf course. What does that look like? How does that actually work?
Yeah. A lot of practices want that. They want the local connection, and it either comes very passively, like somebody who says something or stops by, but you can leverage social media in your community to get real growth and have real strategic allies in the community. And what happens a lot is dentists will go to the apartment complex across the street and they'll take some crumble cookies and they'll drop them off and they'll be like, "Hey, we're a dentist." And the apartment community goes, "Okay, cool, we're an apartment community." And they both go, "Okay, bye." And then the dentist is like, "Well, I did ground marketing and it didn't work." Right?
Right.
That's not marketing. The best thing that you can do as a dental practice is identify yourself as like, "Hey, I have a pocket of patients here that all live in this area. So that's valuable to other local businesses.
Mhm.
How can I use my practice to help businesses grow?" If you can have that one moment, coach, where how can I use what I do to help other businesses grow? And you start thinking that reciprocity mindset, that's how this stuff unlocks. So we talked earlier about building commonality with people. Highlight and document the places that you go. Tag other businesses. If there's a place that you're taking your team for lunch, post, tag that you're there and say one of our favorite lunch stops. Tag them. Because when you do that, what are they going to do?
They're going to
Share
help
it.
you. Yes.
Right.
Talk about
And you
that
get
theory of reciprocity.
exactly.
This is common with you and your circle, and it's human nature, man. It is human
Mhm.
nature. Talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so just using places that you already frequent to show that you're part of the community, but also helping those businesses so you get in front of their followers too through the reciprocity of, "Hey, I come here. Hey, this is one of our favorite spots. Hey, this is a place that my spouse and I like to go to dinner after a busy week." Leverage social media to help other businesses grow and then look strategically around you at who can I maybe pair up with to do some really unique marketing, right? And we've done this in a few different ways. A couple examples I love talking about. We had a pediatric startup that had a trampoline park across the parking lot that had a lot of foot traffic. And so we were able to kind of help. And a lot of times, if you can just give the office manager to the doctor a nudge of here's what to say, they can do it. And so, anyways, we were able to connect this practice with this trampoline park, and there was some dodgeballs and things that the owner of the trampoline park had wanted. We were able to get some branded items put in there, and then we did some co-marketing where, if you get hit with a dodgeball and you take a photo and tag the businesses, you get entered into this contest where twice a year, the dental practice will basically pay for your kid's birthday party at the trampoline park. But there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with local businesses to build those kind of relationships, and gyms, Pilates studios, anything like that. Those are health conscious people that are making an investment that care about what they look like. Like it's the perfect place to find
Yeah.
people that need dentistry or that want to look better in any number of ways, or that you can talk to about, a lot of people are awakening to this holistic health thing,
Yeah.
how much dentistry has an impact on their overall health.
That's right. I say, all right, that all sounds good. A couple things come to mind, would come to mind as a dental owner. How much does it cost? And how do I measure my ROI?
Yeah, so cost, I mean, those kind of fluctuate. We don't really do the package thing. Every practice we work with is different. We do websites and SEO and paid ads and all that stuff, but the strategy piece is really where we go in a completely different direction than most of the industry. And we do all kinds of stuff. I mean, we kind of do growth consulting. We can do like TV and streaming ads and Spotify. I mean, we do all kinds of stuff. But we also have additional services and stacks within our business. So we can help with appointment setting through a partnership we have where we can not only get the phone to ring, but help your team get the patient in the chair or to close treatment. We have services where we can help you attract talent. So if you're looking for hygienists or associate doctors, we don't do placement, but we can help the practice appeal to talent.
Because that's
We
marketing
just
too. You're marketing there,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, why would you want to work here? And a lot of people make decisions in dentistry that have it's not necessarily about strategy, it's alignment with the practice and things like that. And so it's hard to find that a lot of times. So we help our practices in any number of ways, but with dentistry, it's a medical, a specialty medical office that most people are afraid of that's geographically locked. I have still, you'd asked earlier, like, what was like the light bulb moment for me that I was so different?
Mhm.
It was listening and talking to doctors and hearing their experiences, helping them exit other marketing companies and what would happen. And, some of the charges to leave, and you don't own your website and all this stuff that's out there. And just hearing how the doctors get treated of,
Yeah.
oh yeah, if I ask for something, like my office manager just call them for 2 weeks to get it done. Oh, I can't customize my Google Ads. They said I'm in the bronze package and I have to buy the gold package to do that. And it's like, at what point do you just help sell dentistry? Like, at what point do you just do the job of helping the practice? So, I mean, our price points are low, and we have some new things launching here soon that I'm excited to actually share with you. We're not ready to announce it just yet, but we have some new things where we're gonna make story-based marketing available to any practice of any size, through some new divisions within Art of Dental Marketing that are going to do that, because it's so important, because dentists are so largely underserved, and these principles work so well for converting traffic because it's all steeped in human emotion. And luckily for me, most of my competitors don't do this stuff. So my practices are really different in the space. And so we're able to do really well locally with the local community just by doing this emotional outreach.
What if a dentist says, my story is mediocre. I don't have a great story. I'm just, average child, good student, went to school, wanted to be a dentist. My dad was a dentist, or I went to a dentist as a kid, thought that'd be pretty cool. Doesn't have what he or she would consider a dynamic story. How do you unearth a story within the average dentist?
That's such a great question, and I've heard that a lot over the years. And as you start peeling back layers, most people do have a really unique story, and it's not about doing anything crazy. It's just about connecting with people. Dentistry's in your family. You grew up in the area. You wanted to bring quality dentistry back home. Family. You're a dad. You're a mom. You have kids. Right?
Mhm.
That kind of stuff is important because you have to remember most people are afraid. And so there's emotional cues. If you're a mom looking for a dentist and you see my website and understand that I have kids and I'm what seems to be, very nurturing and patient and all those things, because, you can tell those stories, right? Is that going to weigh on your buying decision more than if you're like an ultra marathoner?
Mhm.
Because that's what people want, trust and safety. And so even if you see it as mundane or boring, the public is not if you present it to them in such a way. Most dentists are highly successful, right? Highly smart. They've done incredible things. To them, it may not be interesting, but I've yet to meet a doctor that didn't have a story to tell, especially as it relates to caring for people, why they got into the profession, their skill sets, not only in clinical aspects of treatment, but just the standards they hold to themselves, why they built this practice that they love it, but it just I'll ask you this one. How many practices have you met and how many doctors have you met? Their practice does this cool thing and this cool thing and this cool thing, and it's nowhere in the marketing, but they're proud of it.
Yeah.
And you read the Google reviews and the patients love it. The practice, maybe they're trying to do it, maybe they're not trying to do it. It's just kind of a natural consequence of the culture.
Yep.
But those things aren't communicated in the marketing. And the dentist may say, oh, I don't have a story. Yeah, you do. I bet
Yeah.
your Google reviews will tell me a story if I go through and read them. There's
Right.
stuff that you're doing that you're meaning to do. There's stuff that you're doing that you're probably not meaning to do, or you just have rock star team members that are giving people a great experience. That is
Yeah.
a story, and it's a
Well,
differentiator.
what I find is sometimes people doing things fundamentally well, and they don't. see the practices that aren't, so they don't really know the comp because they are in their own practice every day. And so they don't see that, oh my gosh, I can't believe that experience around the corner. That's awful, but I don't get to see it. I only know what I know. And sometimes we need to hear, and that's part of executive coaching, to get affirmations that no, you are different. You are doing things very well there. The culture there is amazing. When I walk in that door, it feels special, because sometimes they can take it for granted. But that is, I think, what we all look for as a patient. Like, do I come in? I was just reading a book, You Don't Know Spit, by Dr. Menaker. You may or may not know him. He was in Charlotte, and we don't know as a patient if you're a really good dentist or you're not. We don't know. We don't know if you're for what they call the person who finishes last in dental school, doctor, and so, but we know what our experience was like. The wait time, where we greeted well, people smiling. Is there an energy in there? And I used the comparison for those of us like coffee, Starbucks versus Dunkin' Donuts, which one makes you feel better when you walk in and out of the door? Most people would say Starbucks, because they know your name. They call you by name. There's smells in there. There's looks, there's feel. It's maybe cleaner. That's what people, like you said, there's a fear going in. And if they can alleviate that fear, talk to you, hopefully you don't wait too long. If you're waiting, help me get distracted with something, and make the experience as pleasant as possible. And I don't know if you put in the tooth correctly or not. Maybe I'll know in a few days, but I know how you made me feel.
Exactly. Like, the average patient has no idea who the best clinician is, and it has nothing to do with the buying decision. That goes back to where the clinical messaging doesn't work. It doesn't resonate. That's why the marketing falls flat. That's how stories differentiate. Like, we talked about the example at the party with the KU sweatshirt. All you did was wear a KU sweatshirt. All the person did was wear a KU sweatshirt.
Right.
Just put yourself out there, and it gives people an identifier to build commonality with you. The cool thing about this that I've seen over the years is, like, I play guitar. If I, as I put that out there, I bonded with other dentists that play music and, things like that. You'll draw people to you that you have things in common with, who
even
become great patients.
Like, I'm not, like, I don't play an instrument. I like music, but I wouldn't say I'm a fanatic. I could do without it or not. I'll listen to a podcast quicker than I'll listen to playlist. I was trying to think on Spotify. But the fact that you might have yourself on the website with the guitar or playing guitar, then, like, I realize you're a real person. Now there's that emotional connection. Like, you're a real guy, and not just another doctor in a white suit.
Yep. And it's memorable. Like, you're always going to remember the guitar playing dentist over all the other dentists. And that's, in this day and age, with people's micro attention spans, just getting somebody to remember you is a huge win. And it is tough for dentists because, again, with the inexperience and a lot of the sales and stuff that going on, a lot of dentists don't, it's hard for them to understand that it really is this easy to flip the script in terms of the effectiveness of their marketing, because they're constantly bombarded with buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. And now you've got this AI SEO thing. There was all that stuff last week and the week before about ADA compliance with your website. I don't know how this got brought up. We took care of that over a decade ago. This has been an issue. But people are starting to use it now to sell stuff, and you're getting dentists all, kind of flustered up on, well, what is this? Yeah, that's an issue, but it's old. Like, that's been around for a long time.
Right.
But there's all these things that come in because trying to scare, right? We're trying to scare people into sales. If you don't do this, your practice is going to fail. And so sometimes you just need to ride the wave. And again, it's not as complicated. You just need to understand human beings. They're afraid of you, how to make them unafraid of you, right? All the good things that happen when the patient comes in the practice, you can do that on the front end before they even come in. and you can start to build those emotional bonds. And then the last thing that we do that's really different is we don't focus so much on new patient numbers. I like to focus on value per patient and using strategy and messaging to help doctors get more out of every patient visit, because then they can slow down. Then they can really spend more time building relationships. They can point themselves at, I want to see these kind of patients to do this kind of dentistry. And we'll do this other stuff too, but like, this is what I really like to do. When the dentist loves going to work every day, that trickles down.
Let me interrupt you. What was the KPI you mentioned that you use?
We use a bunch of different ones in terms of, validating effectiveness and looking at return on investment.
What was the one you just mentioned? The
value per patient, focusing on maximizing the value of each appointment.
Explain that to the audience. What does that mean?
So we do that in a lot of different ways, but it's just, again, thinking strategically about your marketing, thinking strategically about your messaging. I call it the confirm to come in window, but I feel like it's the most underutilized time in all of dentistry. So when a patient confirms, but before they come in, you have their attention. And that's what all this marketing stuff's about, getting people to pay attention to you. And then a lot of practices, and especially a lot of marketers, once they get their attention, once they're in the boat, it's like, no big deal.
Right.
That confirm to come in window, that's your sales time to front end their appointment with whatever you want. Because the patient knows the appointment's coming. So if you call them, if you text them, if you email them, and you leave a voicemail, they know the appointment's coming. So it's going to register that, hey, this pertains to the upcoming thing.
Right.
Versus if you don't have an appointment, it's just sending messages into the abyss.
Right.
And they don't want
to back up. You say things that I think, you probably say them so much that the audience might not pick up on it. Confirm to what window?
The confirm to come in window. So they confirm the appointment, but before they come in.
Gotcha. And so that window right there, and it might be 6 months, it might be 2 weeks, but there's a window when we all know we've got it on our calendar. And you're saying that dentists are not taking advantage of that window.
Yeah, that's when you have their attention, and you're largely wasting it just reminding them that there's an appointment coming.
Yeah.
When that is the time, have you ever shopped for a present for your kid and you buy the toy and the batteries for it are hanging right there?
Yeah.
It's not an accident. Somebody did it on purpose.
Right.
You can do the same thing depending on the appointment to kick up value.
Tell the audience more. Give me an example.
Yeah. So when you've got a hygiene appointment and you're pitching things to them chair side, most people don't want to be in the operatory, right? They want to get out. But if you confirm your hygiene appointment, whitening's 3 times more effective at professional cleaning. We can add it to your appointment right now. Do you want to add it? Use the lead time to add things there. If you want to go fee for service, talk to people about, hey, we have a membership plan and this is what it is. In the lead up to the appointment, you can use that window for a variety of things, but it's just those little tweaks that start to really pay off long term.
That's really, I like that term, that window you're talking about, and because you're going to open up that email, you're going to open up that text because there's a sense of urgency that you have this finite amount of time before the appointment, and this message pertains to that appointment. I've got to open it up.
And you're adding things to the appointment that the patient ultimately wants, right? A lot of times they'll say no because they're in the op and they don't want to be there. You're asking for money they weren't expecting to spend, or they just don't have the time to stay. And so if you front load it, it makes it a lot easier to say yes. We're just removing barriers, which anybody in any sales position understands.
Right.
But that's a window of time where you can do any number of things to market and grow your practice, and you've got people's attention for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that's funny. As you were telling that story, you get the questions when you've got like two people with their fingers in your mouth, or 2 utensils in your mouth, or 2 instruments in your mouth, and they ask you want something. You can't feel your lip, and you've got 2 instruments in your mouth. Like, that's not the time to upsell.
Exactly.
What is the best success story that you like to share, without naming a name, but give us an example?
Honestly, it's just looking at so many doctors. Kind of my favorite success story is seeing the amount of doctors that have fulfillment in their careers, and they actually get to enjoy being dentists, and we're able to take some of that burden off of them using these principles. And we have a client that's seeing 80x ROI on the marketing dollars that they're spending.
80.
80. And I'm proud of that because there's been a lot of work that's gone into that. There's been a lot of years of struggle and trying to figure this out. And like you said, we know each other. You know that I'm just as passionate about this offline as I am here
Oh
today.
yeah.
I love this. I love doing it. I love helping dentists achieve. And not to say that everybody's going to get 80x, but the fact that we were able to do that. And again, a lot of our clients see great success, but I just find a lot of just a lot of validation in this methodology and seeing it work across so many practices and so many different areas collectively is my favorite thing. But that practice in particular, just couldn't be prouder. And he's done an amazing job too. But just super proud of the results we were able to get.
I want to pivot a little bit because it's about owning it's more than marketing for dentists. It's about owning and leading a business, a dental practice. And your work with practice owners, how often do you see the marketing problem as maybe actually a leadership problem or a cultural problem?
Man, that's tough. I mean, it's pretty common, I would say. A lot of dentists, though, I feel like they get so worn down by the machine
Mhm,
that it does start to affect every aspect. As
mhm,
far as marketing problems go, a lot of doctors just have a messaging problem.
mhm,
What they're putting out there isn't resonating. And
mhm.
that's where it's the seen and chosen thing. Getting in front of people isn't your problem. It's what you're saying isn't resonating. And the doctors start to get frustrated and that spills over. But as far as leadership and things go, yeah, my docs that really have invested the time, whether it's self-study or being with a coach or a mentor, and I can tell a big difference. My doctors that are involved in some sort of an executive
Mhm.
level program, you can tell a big difference in their shift and their ability to handle the stress, run the business, but also kind of look at it from less emotional, more business leadership. It definitely has a material benefit, but it's hard for me to correlate the marketing to that because it's such a huge problem. If there's 100 dentists in the room and you ask how many of you have had a bad experience with a marketing company, most of that room's putting their hand up,
Yeah,
right? And so it's such a pervasive and huge issue that it touches most offices. And so just seeing the weight of that getting lifted where they can then focus on, hey, I want to be a better leader.
that's right.
Um, I love
Well,
to see when
peace of
that
mind
happens.
and
And
putting that in place in the next kind of, let's say, 2 to 3 minutes.
mhm.
What does an engagement look like? How does somebody one get in touch with you? What's the first call look like? Then do you come in and look behind the curtain? What does that look like? When, how long does it take to get things ramped up? And then what's the length of time where they might start to see some kind of results?
Yeah, so you can reach out to us at artofdentalmarketing.com. Schedule a call. You'll talk to me or one of my team members. We'll discuss where you're at, where you want to go, take you through options and our initial kind of thoughts on these are the services that you need. Onboarding and all is pretty simple. We handle a lot of the heavy lifting if you're leaving a marketing company, so you can just kind of go be a dentist. And from there, you do an intensive onboarding with my team so we can kind of pull those story elements out. We start to infuse them across your marketing depending on what we're doing in the campaigns. A lot of times we can see results pretty quickly just because a lot of dentists don't have a traffic problem. They're getting people to their website, they're getting people to see their ads. It's just what they're saying isn't compelling action. So, like the whitening special, if I switch that to the prom
Yeah,
special, more people are going to click on it. And so it doesn't take as long as you would think. But yeah, there is some time. We got to go through some validation protocols, and Google puts us through the ringer and stuff. But from there, within the first, 3 months, 6 months, we can really start to spread things out, especially as the practice is making more money and get focused in on more customization of long term. What are your goals? What patients do you want to see? And then we start kind of strategically tackling it that way. And then as our clients grow, I mean, I've had clients from straight out of school through now, owning multiple offices. We just pivot and move with you as your resource and watch your blind spots. And we have a lot of amazing partners that as problems come up, we can refer them to people that we trust who do a good job. And it's a great relationship. I'm really proud of it. I love working with our clients long term.
Yeah, I could go on and on with you, Sean. What's a question I should have asked that I didn't?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I would say, where do you see like what issues do you potentially see with AI?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Go ahead.
AI is kind of the Wild West right now. And there's amazing companies out there, Pearl, Overjet. I mean, there's amazing companies doing incredible things with AI. Where I start to get worried is, again, there's people on the internet that can say whatever they want. The idea of letting AI take over patient interaction, the idea of letting, don't have a front desk, just have a computer there.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, people say, and it's wild to me that somebody would say that because dentistry is a relationship and experience business. AI is coming on strong. People still don't trust it. And I actually recently spoke about this and I did some chat GPT prompting while I was on stage speaking. People are never going to fully trust AI. They're not going to say, hey, I have a toothache, I need a dentist. And then whatever the AI does, they're just going to do it.
Right.
Would you, if you were traveling somewhere, would you let AI book your hotel room and not think about it and just go wherever it sent you?
No.
Right.
No.
And so sometimes they get
a big fan of AI, but I was listening to a podcast today, and there's a lot of pushback because people are afraid, whether that's real or imagined in their head. But I'm open to it. But there are certain things that I think what is going to allow a dentist to do is to take care of some of the repeatable tasks.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who have the interpersonal skills and show their story, to your point, and to what you do, those people will be head and shoulders above everybody else in any industry besides dentistry.
Yeah. And that's that. So just as it comes to patient communication, having AI answer the phone after hours, that's fine. Right. That's an expectation of somebody that's calling.
That's right.
But you're leveling the playing field if everybody has a robot answering the phone. So what makes you unique, your front desk, the people, the culture, let that shine through. Let AI do some things. And again, I'm a fan of it too. We're doing some really cool stuff with AI. But when it comes specifically to things like, oh yeah, just get rid of your front desk.
Right.
Don't do those things. People that say, oh, you don't need a website anymore. Don't listen to those things. It's going to hurt you a lot more than it's going to help you.
Yeah. Well, Sean, appreciate you. It's exactly kind of the conversation that helps practice owners think bigger about their business. That's a wrap on today's episode. Huge thank you to Sean Hamel for pulling back the curtain on what it actually takes to stand out in the crowded market. The business should not run the dentist should run the business. And part of owning that role means taking your marketing seriously as a business function, not an afterthought. If today's conversation sparked something for you, share this episode with another practice owner who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to take your business to the next level, head to daughertycoaching.com. That's also where you can find my books, Rebound from Pain to Passion and the Timeout Journal. We'll see you on the next episode of Dental Business Made Simple.